mean, that's my opinion. And yeah, the content there was really, really cool. You can access it. If you didn't do it live, you can still access it in the website if one day you're curious. You can actually access the Yoga Sutras course. You can access the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, and now the Bhagavad Gita as well, with the grand ending finale from Geshe. And anyways, that's why we didn't do last week. We are here. And just 1 week ago, Adam came to Arizona along with all the translators as well. But they came very quickly. Only a few of them only stayed for one night. Came, do the program one night, they left. But still, it was nice to see them. And something very surprising to me really happened, which is this. You may remember for the last few sessions, we have been using the text that Geshe wrote lately on how to perceive dependent origination. Now, Geshe lately also keeps saying that he doesn't like much that translation. He says that the term dependent origination, he feels there are some technical problems with it. The thing is, I don't remember exactly because it's very new for me that he starts talking more about it. But he says that there are some, I would say, like some objects, as far as I remember, that the name dependent origination can give us a wrong impression. And I think he's talking mostly about the principle of Arya Nagarjuna, that things don't start, things don't stop, things don't stay, and things don't. What else? I don't remember. And I don't remember exactly, but it's just so you know, I think little by little you start hearing more about it. When something begins to exist, it's not necessary that it went through a process of starting. He says something and the lines like starting gives us a feeling that first it was here and then started and start moving and changing, and kind of a process of changing. And he is now encouraging us to sometimes think about it as a just pop on existence, just kind of happen. Oh yeah, that's actually the word he's proposing is connected to the word happen, something that happened, similar to an event or something just happens versus starting. But anyways, I'm just giving you the little bit of something that I feel is gonna come up to explain this idea of dependent origination and looking for maybe a new way to explain it. But the text that we've been using is, just for now, we're gonna call it dependent origination. Is the new release book that Gibson and Geshe himself have finished translating. And we've been using this introduction or preface for the book. Well, this is actually the essay, the actual opening essay. Along with it, there is another text we haven't read here yet that is actually the preface. But the reason I talk about it is because lately I talk with Gibson, I talk with Rob Haggerty, and I don't know how many of you receive the daily mailing list. But then Geshe wrote maybe 3 or 4 days ago. Official news is that Gibson and Rob Haggerty They are both gonna do a G box next week, super quickly. For those of you, yes, for those of you going to Diamond Mountain or attending the program online, they both are going to be having a G box, and it is exactly on these texts that we have been, how to say, using or reviewing, which I find very interesting. You know, I asked Gisela if it was okay to use this text for for the Pramana session, and he said yes. He said, "Oh yeah, that's a great text, amazing." He even told me like, "Yes, as soon as I finish writing this text, I asked Veronica to read it right away." I was very excited. He himself feels he did a very good job on this text, and he was so happy to show it to Veronica. And then in the email, that's what it took my attention in a way, because in the email when he shared it, you can see he writes, "Please read this text right away." And it's long, but I think we have pretty much done it. We may still have a some last part to go, so we can do that today, and then I'll tell you about other things as well. But anyways, the thing is, Gbox coming up next week, exactly in 6 more days, next Thursday. The Gbox they both gonna do is gonna be on this. So I of course encourage you to check it out. It's gonna be integrated into the Five Houses program. So if you are taking the Five Houses program, it's gonna be part of it anyways. Of course, if you're going to Diamond Mountain, even more. But even if you're not, people are going to be invited for this session. It's gonna be kind of, how to say it, open to everyone. So let me show you. Okay. And then there is a surprise, because I was talking with Gibson about it. That, Gibson, he has been preparing on these topics for a while. And then he told me there is some special information that Geshe has been telling him about how there are two ways of approaching emptiness. And even the text says this. There is one way where, because remember, we were talking about this idea of karma and emptiness. Oops, I don't know if you can see my phone. Maybe not. Let me see. But yeah, Geshe uses this example sometimes. Two sides of the same coin or two sides of the same phone. But it's like you need them both for any. It's very difficult now for me to choose my words carefully. I'll tell you why in a moment. But anyways, let's say 99% of things in the universe are changing things. Let's put it this way. For any changing thing, you're gonna have its emptiness and its dependent origination, its seed side, are together always. And almost to say that emptiness depends on the object that possesses it. So even that proves that even emptiness is interdependent. Question for you, if you want to just think about it, and I've been thinking about it lately, is does an object that doesn't exist has emptiness? And I don't know, in a way, yes, because check it out. In a way, emptiness is the absence of self-existence, right? Let's put it that way. So if an object doesn't even exist, much less is going to have self-existence. because it doesn't even exist. So if it doesn't even exist, it doesn't have existence, and it doesn't have self-existence. So in a way, you could argue that an object that doesn't exist also has emptiness. It's funny, but I don't know it's technically correct. Probably, but it's because it's an absence, it could be the case. Generally speaking, I will say it doesn't make sense, because how could you give a quality to something that it doesn't even exist? It's like to say that, I don't know, my, how say, my mansion in San Diego is very beautiful. How can I say that it's, or it's like to say that my mansion in San Diego has 3 pools. How can it have a pool if it doesn't even exist? So how an object that doesn't exist can have emptiness if it doesn't exist? But because emptiness is an absence, it could be the case. All right. Now we did a small detour. There is a way to reach emptiness through, first we understand dependent very well, seeds, how they work, how they create an object. And by understanding that, then we understand emptiness. First, we understand the side of existence, let's put it this way. And then we understand its lack of self-nature. Almost to say, first we understand how it exists, and by understanding how it does exist, then we understand how it doesn't exist. Something to say, like, if I explain to you, let's say there are two roads to get to the same place. For those, I'm thinking, I don't know how familiar you are with Rimrock, but just whatever. Let's say you have the supermarket, and either you go through the highway or either you go to the small road. There is 2 routes to get there. And then I explain to you, how am I gonna get there today? And I tell you, okay, I'm gonna go outside the house, drive all the way straight, and I'm going to turn left on the first highway. I'm gonna get there, 15 minutes, then exit the highway. So I told you that I'm going to use the highway. And with that, you can deduce I'm not going to use the small road. So by knowing how I'm going to do something, you can also deduce, have a deduction, which is one of the pramanas. And in a way, that's how we reach emptiness as well, with this process of elimination, what I'm not going to use. So by understanding that the pen comes from seeds, in a way, you immediately understand that the pen does not come from itself. And that's one route to reach emptiness. But then Geshe writes in the text that there is a second way where you can use emptiness first, and from emptiness reach dependence or seeds or dependent origination. And it will be to tell you, like, oh, how are you gonna get to the grocery stores? And I tell you, well, today I'm not going to use the small road. And that's all I say. And you can also again connect and understand that if I'm not going to use the road, then I'm going to use the highway. And Gibson is very excited about it. And it's very likely that he comes today in a few more minutes in person. Yay, to talk about it. We'll see. That was the surprise. And I hope he can make it. But he said he had another class, 6 to 7, but he's gonna try to come maybe for a few minutes afterwards, tell us about his Gbox, questions if you want. I suggest we open up the document again. We do a quick review. I show you the PPTs as a review. We can finish the text. We're almost there. And when Gibson comes, if anybody wants to ask him questions or comments about it, we can do it after we review so we know what's going on. All right, let me open I was just reading the chats. Catherine say, maybe you have an idea and that idea has its own emptiness. Yes, while I open the text, let me, I mean, it's no secret. I'm just gonna be very straightforward. When I did my foundation courses a few years ago in Mexico mostly, but everywhere really, or at least in my world, in my reality, doing the homework was not really encouraged in those days. I'm talking about, I don't know, 12 years ago or something like that. So there was so many homeworks I didn't do. I just studied the courses and I was very happy learning new things. And just long story short, I haven't done many of the homeworks. And then, long story short, I have been encouraged many times to do the homeworks. Finally, I'm doing the homeworks. And just yesterday, I was doing my last homeworks of one of the courses, course number 2. And for those familiar on it, what they are doing there is they are talking about the 3 knowledges. What is that? Basically, in this case, it refers to the perception of selflessness by what I understand is by a person who is on the lower 2 tracks, meaning the track of the listeners and the track of the self-made Buddhas. And I don't know if you're familiar with this, but supposedly they say that the lower schools don't talk much about emptiness. What they talk about is something called selflessness, which is in a way similar, but still a little different. The reason they talk about it is because they say the lower schools don't accept emptiness in the same way that the higher schools do. And check it out, because it's very interesting how, again, we see this connection between emptiness and dependent origination. Because in a way, we have mentioned before, emptiness means that there is no self-existent object there. But what is it to be self-existent? In general, to be self-existent is not depending on anything in order to exist. And different schools explain what is it that things are dependent on in order to exist. We have talked about it before sometimes, which is, for example, the first few schools says, oh yes, things are not self-existent because they depend on causes and conditions. Okay, so what they depend on is causes and conditions, yes, but because they depend on something, whatever it is, they are already disqualified to be self-existent. Okay, cool. Causes and conditions. And then next school will come and will say, yes, okay, we agree. Things depend on causes and conditions, but they also depend on their parts. Okay, depend on causes and conditions and parts, yes. More advanced schools come and they say, yes, they depend on causes and conditions, parts, but they also depend on labels, names and labels. So each school adds more elements into it. And in a way, you could say that the highest schools, yes, they accept the other elements. They accept causes and conditions, they accept parts, they accept. But in a way, they say, but even all of those, the causes and conditions, the parts, they at the end of the day come from, Geshe likes to say lately, they come from luminous images that come from seeds that have been planted in our minds by how we treat people in the past. So in a way, you could say that things depends on seeds, just to make it easier. Because seeds create the causes and conditions, because seeds create the parts, because seeds create the labels. And they accept that, but as the foundational most important things that they will say things depend on, it will be mental seeds, right? Let me share my screen. And anyways, they were, oh, nice. Now I have these. I'll show you something in a moment. Oh, beautiful. Maybe we can play a small game quickly. Share screen. Okay, this is fine. Gina, send me this, one moment. All right, so I hope you're seeing this, the pot on the stove, the other side of emptiness. G-Box with Rob Haggerty and Gibson Chan. This is just the, how to say, provisional poster. And she sent me a few options. Which one do you like better? Number 1, number 2, number 3. You can put it in the chat and then I'll give her feedback. I like them both. I like the colors of this one, probably this, but I like also this one more. I don't know. We'll see what stays. But now you know it's coming up. Very cool. Probably I'll take this. Although this is more like modern. Let me show you the... Okay, yes. Here, this is the text. And where we stay the other last time we stay very close. I think we stay. Gonna make this bigger. Okay. I think we got somewhere here. But well, let me see. Okay, people like 1, people like all, people like 2. Beautiful. We'll see what Gibson and Rob like. Anyways, let me finish quickly. When I was telling you about the 3 knowledges. That's the first of the knowledges, is the perception of selflessness. Then the second knowledge is the perception of emptiness by a bodhisattva, which is a person in the 3rd track, listeners, self-help Buddhas, and bodhisattva track. And the third knowledge is the perception or the experience, I don't know, perception is okay, of omniscience by a totally enlightened being. And then the text was asking, how can we prove that those things are empty or that those things are not themselves? And the idea is to use something called the proof of not one and not many. And probably we should talk about it. I find it very interesting, but today I'm just mention it briefly. We leave it for some other time. And basically is this. There are 2 ways to approach it, but there is a connection between the 2. One way to approach it is when we say, classical example like here is like a mala, like a religious, religious necklace to count mantras or to debate or to hit students that misbehave, shall say, in the monastery. Sometimes that happens. Is it one thing because it's one mala, one necklace? Or is it many things because it's composed of many beats, individual beats? So you can say, oh, this is 108 things because it's 108 small balls. Or you can say, no, it's actually one thing because it's one single mala. And then you somehow realize that it could be either, and at the same time, it's non itself. Like it's not only one of those things. It could be both, or it could be none. Which starts opening the door to the other way of interpreting it, which is you say things are not one, and then you add the word self-existent thing, and things are not many self-existent things. And this proof goes like, if one thing is not self-existent, then it's impossible to have more than one thing that is self-existent. Now, the reason and how these two approaches start bending is that even whatever you call one thing, that thing has parts. So if it has a right side and a left side, it's already two things put together, two halves, if you want to say, put together. So it's impossible to find a thing, an object that has no parts. And that blew my mind because it's a big, deep investigation on parts. And remember in Adam's book, we went through the outline of existence and we investigate changing objects, unchanging objects, all the categories, physical objects, mental objects, non-physical, not mental objects, then cessations which are unchanging. We investigate also empty space, we investigate emptiness itself, and then we investigate which are the parts of each one of those. Like physical objects are easy, but then starts getting more tricky when we go to mental things, and even more tricky, I think, when we went to things that are not physical, not mental, to find the parts of those things. Then the parts of an absence, the parts of a cessation, the parts of empty space, the parts of emptiness. And I think it will be good to spend some time reviewing those. So maybe next session we can do that. I'm gonna check. Okay, I'm gonna check if Gibson is around. Not yet, but soon. Okay, let's just quickly check on this. So long story short, Geshe explains how, okay, I guess for that it's better to do this. The pictures will help us to move quickly. So yeah, this is the book. You can find more about the story of Jetson Kappa in this book. Geshe talks about the pen, two ways to approach emptiness, two sides of the story. We talk a little bit about that. In this case, we understand first dependence, and then we go to emptiness. And the 4 activities that we should be engaging in order to have this experience ourselves, which is the direct perception of the luminous image of the pot. And that later leads us to the direct perception of emptiness. They are serve people around us on daily basis. They are big, strong meditation practice to reach out and focus consistent 1 hour a day. Help and learn from a good teacher, and study these subjects and topics deeply. Then he talks about the emptiness lineage. He starts talking about luminous images Chedrak and objects in the world that possess or are wrapped around these mental pictures. We talked about it, different objects that can possess the same mental picture, even if they are, I'd say, different at the same time, but we can identify them as possessing that quality. Chichedrak sometimes can also be translated as quality and characteristic. Some other times it can be translated as general and specific, and other times can be translated as group and subgroup, or set and subset. Three ways to use Chichedrak, but they are all interconnected. Geshe usually says that the most helpful one is quality and characteristic. But in order to understand quality and characteristic very well, it's very helpful to understand the other two, set and subset, and general and specific. Okay, the relationship between mental pictures and the word car. We did that. Shedrack specifics, that things that we see, things that possess, in this case, the carness. And then we move on the experience of the pot on the stove. Then we start talking about colors and shapes, the raw data that creates the object, and how these mental pictures that we have, the luminous images that come from the seeds that we plant by how we treat other people. That's cool to keep repeating that, because at least to me, sometimes it makes me more aware of every single time in the day is a chance to move in the direction that I want to go. It's almost like, oh, right, great, I have 5 minutes. I can do a whatever. Just even the way you say hello to someone, if you do it consciously, trying to create a certain result, it's like you can just make sure you ask someone how are they doing, just so you plant a seed of harmony, let's say, or happiness or whatever. But if you're still thinking on constant basis that everything your experiences in the universe is coming from luminous images that come from the seeds, that come from how you treat other people, then you're just like, okay, great, I have power to affect my world right here, right now, just by how I treat other people. So this Geshe calls it this wrapping luminous image. In this example, he calls them chocolate sauce that wraps around the ice cream balls. In this case, the ice cream balls are the raw data, the chocolate sauce is the luminous images. And then we talk about also like the raw data themselves also is coming from seeds. But we get there in a moment. Yes, colors and shapes. You see where the shapes, the round and the silver, the black, the long are coming from. With one exploration of that, and how to avoid the two extremes of believing that either things exist by themselves and they are so, sometimes I don't know what you think, but reality could seem very solid and difficult to change and difficult to twist or influence, and we could fall into this feeling like, oh well, things are just like they are, there's not much to be done. That even will be an extreme, and the other extreme will think that, oh, because things come from my seeds, they don't exist at all. And in this text, Geshe encourages us to find the middle way to say, no, the things do exist, and the way they have existed, it has always been through dependence and with emptiness. But that's the real pot, and that pot can actually cook food for other people. It can burn your hand if you touch it too hot. So things that exist through dependent origination and have emptiness they work and work. Hopefully, how say, luckily we have the karma that in general they work consistently, and they give us this feeling of cohesion. Otherwise, I was talking with Gina the other day and Francisco. They are visiting in Rimrock because they are getting ready to be the tech table in Sedona, sorry, in Diamond Mountain. I was telling them how crazy it would be if we didn't have the seeds for cohesion. That today, if I want to heat up water, I need to use fire. But tomorrow, if I want to heat up water, I need to use a stone. And the next day, I need to use, I don't know, lemons or whatever. So, and in a way, it's true because the qualities that the objects have in our daily life are not really inside the objects. So theoretically, if we had different seeds, different objects could have different, those qualities could be inside other objects and the like. But at the same time, it's a great, beautiful karma that allows us to work in the world this kind of form of consistency. If we are thirsty, we know we can use water, let's say. Although we have to admit at the same time that if our seeds change, that those things could change as well. But anyways, Gibson has arrived. And before I welcome him, I'm just gonna show you super quickly the rest of the pictures. So maybe you remember and you can ask him questions if you want. So we were here in how Geshe says, find the middle way. Things do exist through dependence and have emptiness. And that's the way it has always been, no worries. It has been working and it can be working still. Just understand how they actually exist. The pot of water, then Geshe says even ourselves are like that. So it was just a surprising idea for me to believe that even me, I could change if I plant different seeds. Great. And then this is the seed in our heart, opening, flowing the mental luminous image, getting the pot that comes from when we share pots to other people. This is the neon luminous picture that Geshe talks about it, that then it imbues and wraps around the raw data and creates the actual interactionable object. G, raw data, Chedrak, something like that. Same with the car, boop, 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 and then you have the car. Okay, here you share, you plant the seed, and then you can see the object actually interacting in your world. And then the question of the raw data. And okay, let me welcome Gibson. Thank you for coming. Yay. I was telling people, Gibson, about your upcoming G-Box and how exciting it's gonna be. And the surprising thing that me, without knowing, we have been using this text that Geshe wrote for a few weeks. So now here people in this group are very, I hope, very excited about this topic. And we would like to hear from you, maybe a little bit of what's your experience working with this text, and if you want to share something that takes your attention or that you're particularly interested to talk about in this upcoming G-Box. And I don't know, I'm gonna show you real quick, Gibson. Have you seen the poster Gina
No.
made? Let me show you because she has a few options. She has not finished totally yet, but there's some options. One
Wow.
option, she sent this as well, and she sent this as well. Oh, I guess now we only have two. so far. But if you have
Oh, cool.
ideas, you can talk to her. She's gonna send a QR code soon, just so you know it's cooking.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyways, I won't take much more of your time.
No,
Gibson,
I
what do you
think
have to say about all
it is
this?
better for me and you talk together. And sorry you make so beautiful presentation. I jeopardize your program.
No,
Um,
no, we want you to come and share with us a little bit of how it
okay.
has been for you working for so long with these texts. What is exciting for you?
Yeah, I will talk a little bit about it and then maybe we can have a conversation later
Mhm.
because both you and me I don't know some of you have seen read Geshe read a very beautiful preface in English about the priest and really appreciate about it. So I think yesterday when I was in sleep and I suddenly realized this book, including Jason Kaba, Lama Quicksilver, and the translator. One of the translator, I think they all see the power on the stove. All have a power on the stove experience. And this is very is exquisite. It's not only a textbook or normal classic. It's why Jejong Kaba wrote this book called The Praise of Dependent, and Geshe come out with a very genius title called The Other Side of Emptiness. Why is very genius? Because it's the case in the emptiness and the dependence, they are not a separate thing, and they couldn't be separate. So that's why he said it is the other side of emptiness. When Jason Kaba wrote this letter to the Lord Buddha, it's a love letter, and because it's right after he saw emptiness directly. Yeah. So
It's
you will
af-
imagine. Yeah.
after Jetson Kappa saw emptiness directly. That's
Yeah.
when he writes this letter, the preface,
Yeah.
the wow, price to dependence.
And you will naturally think, why he didn't write the praise of emptiness, right?
Hmm.
Why he wrote the praise of dependent,
Hmm.
and so he actually wrote the love letter to Lord Buddha because he said, I don't have enough seat to listen to your class in person because we are how many years afar, maybe 1,000 years afar. And he actually wrote this kind of letter, and one of the verses that um, anyone know the dependent, but they think that thing are coming from its own way. They are crazy. So actually, it's a teaching of emptiness. He just using the dependence to have a gateways to sneak in, because in order to see emptiness directly, you have to have the experience of the power stove, right? Just like a Juan say. I think this is a perfect combination between this book and the Adams and the one you are talking, right?
Hmm.
Because this book didn't talk a lot about the Qi but they are talking about why emptiness and dependent they are bonding together. I think when I was very young, the first verses I heard from the Buddhism is from Heart Sutra, called the 色不异空，空不异色, meaning the form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is nothing in emptiness, emptiness is nothing in form. And actually, it's exactly what Jejong Kaba talking about here. We are going to using this one, the dependent and the emptiness together to 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 make our life better, to make in the future we have the chance to serve all the people in the universe. And I don't know, Juan, do you read the story about the Quicksilver, Lama Quicksilver?
Which one? I don't know what story.
Because it's very intriguing. Because at the end
Mhm.
of this prefix, he said this is the great book to enter the Diamond Way.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. Lama Quicksilver, his name didn't show a lot in the open teaching.
Mhm.
You will see a lot of authors like Jejong Kaba, Choni Lama, um, Aya Nagarjuna, and Chandra Kirti, but you don't see Lama Quicksilver name very often. Why? Um, if you come to Diamond Mountain, maybe you will get a book and you will write why it didn't show a lot because all his major work is in the Diamond Way. And Geshe, at the very beginning of the preface, he say there's a two way to get at emptiness. First one is to go through the lineage of the emptiness from the low Buddha, like a Diamond Cutter and Heart Sutra, go
Mhm.
to the Aya Nagarjuna, wisdom, go to the Chanjakirti, entering to the middle way, go to the Shantideva, uh, guide to the Bodhisattva way of life, go to the Jejong and Quicksilver, he had a very interesting story because since he was very young, he is working really hard to 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 learn all this philosophy, this Buddhism, and he have a very special name called the Lobsang Tseling. Juan, do you know what Tseling means?
Uh, Selling.
Yeah, it's when Geshe after the gallbladder surgery,
Uh-huh.
her nurse
Yeah.
name called
Yeah.
Tseling, meaning a long,
Long life.
yeah, long life.
Mhm.
So Lama Quicksilver, his original name is called a long life, but
Mhm.
it's really sarcasm
Mhm.
because in his life is pretty like Geshe Michael Roach. Uh, his his mother passed away, his brother passed away, and finally he find his teacher. But
Mhm.
after 2 years, his teacher also passed away,
Mm.
and so he's he's he is fed up and he want to fight the war toward the death,
Mhm.
and he don't want to wait for 7 lifetime. He want to become the first, become the being who can serve the world now,
Mhm.
this life. And so he took the um, alternative route to achieve the goal. And finally, he meets the Vajrayogini and become Vajrayogini.
Mhm.
And at the end of the preface, he say, normally in the open teaching, we are walking from the dependent to the dependence to the emptiness. But the way Quicksilver, Nova Quicksilver took is from the emptiness to dependence. And that is the key point when you can become a being who can serve the world in one lifetime. And if you want to know that, come to the next week G box. What do you think, Juan?
I think it's very, very interesting. I like the stories you're telling us for context
Yeah,
and how this content relates to the big success of big practitioners along history. Now that I'm thinking about it, including Geshe Michael, including Geshe Lab, because who knows? Right now, you're here telling us stories of Jetson Kappa and telling a story of Lama Quicksilver, and to kind of see that in the future there is gonna be also stories about Geshe Michael. You see, as
actually,
as a
when I read the book,
Mhm.
I found out one really weird thing.
Mm.
I don't know if you find out. He put the interlude in the middle of the commentary.
I know I didn't know that. The
Yeah.
interlude.
Yeah, if you open the text,
Mhm.
if you go to the one that actually, Geshe wrote the experience about the pot on stove
Mm-hmm.
in this text,
Mm-hmm.
and usually he will put the introduction and in the very beginning or
Mm-hmm.
at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But this time instead, he put in the middle of the text.
Mm-hmm.
So I somehow I think he also become one of the commentator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's not only a translator because he also put his experience, the part
Mm-hmm.
on the stove experience,
Mm-hmm.
into this book to
Mm-hmm.
prepare us to understand what is the dependence.
That's very cool, very cool. And so the focus on these upcoming G boxes, it's gonna be on this what is
Okay,
it? I don't know how to call it. It's because it's not the preface, it's
we
the
are yeah, yeah. We are going to cover this 3 day class. Each class is 1 hour, and Rob and I
okay.
have a kind of rough idea
Mm-hmm.
because we are going to because this is the first time Geshe talking to write the Palang stove experience in the open material.
Mm-hmm.
He used to have this material, but in the DCIG level 7,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not really this time it's really like personal experience and let you know how to do that because he also said if you want to see the pot on the stove, then you need to have a full preparation,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in these 3 days, we are going to talking about how to prepare yourself in order to see the pot, your own version of the pot on the stove. I always asking people, what do you think that in the future when you see the picture coming out from your mind, what kind of object will you see? Juan, what do you think?
What
I
kind of
was talking to my friend. I said maybe hot pots,
maybe what?
the Chinese hot pots,
Uh-huh, uh-huh. What
spicy
kind of
hot pot.
what?
No, I just joking. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But we'll cover the full inner preparation. For example, to have a teacher, to immerse yourself in the text, and to have a 1 hour meditation, and to serve the community. And the second one, we are going to talking about what's Juan talking about today, the thorough experience of the palm. So, and the final one, because because at fall, maybe July is the last preparation to the Diamond Way, and we are going to have the actual Diamond Way in October. Uh, so you definitely want to prepare yourself, right, to have a great experience because you don't want to think that I don't need to prepare anything and going to have this prepare Diamond Way. You want to refuel yourself. You want to have a fully beautiful sea and have a fully beautiful experience about the teaching about the Diamond Way. So we are going to also at the last day, last teaching, me and Rabbi are going to guide everyone how to prepare yourself, how to plan your daily life in the following maybe 6 months, and to make sure you have a beautiful experience uh, in on October. So I think that would be really beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you, Gibson, very much for having come and show us about this. I did so it's gonna be 3 days.
Yeah, it's
One,
going to be 3 day, five,
one
six,
day.
7,
Uh-huh. So
and
that's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I guess.
yeah, in Arizona time.
Uh-huh. And broadcasting from Diamond Mountain, correct?
Bro, yeah, broadcast from Diamond Mountain.
Very cool. I was asking Gina right now if there is a QR code, and I mean, there is going to be one.
And I think after those 3 day class, they should come to Juan
Uh-huh.
to have the Qijie more detail because we are not going to cover the Qijie
You're not gonna talk
in
much about it?
in detail.
Okay, so before you go, I mean, we still have like 3 minutes. Let me just show you what I did for Chichedrak. I don't know if you already look at it. Oh yeah, this is well,
Yeah,
but this one to me was interesting because I don't know, I was playing with AI and it will give this. I was like, okay, because Geshe writes in the text like a neon kind of looking luminous picture. And I was telling people that there is 3 ways to talk about Chichedra, which is um, one of them is set and subset.
yeah,
The,
subset.
uh-huh. The other one is general and specific. And
Hmm.
the other one is quality and characteristic. And there is a relationship between all of them, really, and one builds to the other. But how in this text there is a mix because in a way it's quality and characteristic, but in a way it's also sub and subset. The example here is when we have like the mental picture of a car, and we can see that mental picture is a little bit like it's not as well defined because to me this phenomena is very interesting when we can find the mental picture of car, the chi of car, we can find it in different objects. You see all of these vehicles are different, like this is different than this and then this and then this, but still there is something that allow us to identify them all as car. If I ask you, does this object has carness? You say yes. What about this one? It has carness? Yes. And this one? Yes. So how much could you change an object until it loses its carness? You see? And to me, it's interesting that mental pictures of a quality that makes another object characteristic of Chedrak and the connections between the word car and the cheese. Objects that we interact with in the normal world versus the archetypes in our minds. And most especially, you hear when Geshe kind of say that at the end of the day, you're gonna realize that it's the same thing. Have you heard him saying that? That idea is still
Yeah.
difficult for me to understand.
Hmm.
That the mental picture and the actual object are the same thing. Still difficult for me to grasp.
But that is what for us to thinking about it. Yeah.
Very cool. So thank you so much, Gibson. I don't know if you want to share maybe one last thing or no need, but we're
Yeah.
gonna be ready to share with people the link
Okay. I
of the
really
text.
appreciate Juan that you invite me to come here and to share because it also let me prepare what we are going to cover in the future in the next week. And
Mhm.
I think you don't want to miss it because if you want really in your life, you find there's a bug in the word. I don't know. Do you know the word bug? Meaning,
Back.
yeah, when you try to play, meaning
Oh
that
yeah. Uh-huh.
meaning even if you try to accumulate a lot of money, in your life relationship, at the end, um, at the end, the the if you hold a breath for 1 minute, everything the death will take away everything. And not only you can see your friend, your family, they are living in this kind of condition. And Lama Quicksilver see it really well. And there's a famous quote that Geshe put in the book, say, um, if you are wanting something enough, then you will naturally find a new way.
I like it. Who says
Yeah.
that? Who says that?
He actually give a story that final story.
Yeah.
He say there's a Western version of this story is when there's a lady and he's living in the city like San Francisco, a lot of hill,
Mhm.
and there's a story that he put his baby on the car, and when he tried to get out of the car,
Oh yeah.
and suddenly the baby is rolling in under the car.
Hmm.
And in order, mother don't want the baby to get hurt,
Hmm.
to crash over her.
Hmm.
So mother lift the car up,
Hmm.
and I'm kind of confused why Geshe put this story in the middle of the preface
Hmm.
and read over and over and over again. And finally find out, wow, he tried to talking about the second route of emptiness.
Hmm.
Yeah, he say because if you are desperate enough, meaning if you already see that you don't want your family, you don't want your friend to get passing away, you really want to fight a war toward the death. And you don't want to wait for 500 years. You don't want to wait for one, yeah, you want it now. And Lama Quicksilver find a way. So he wrote a commentary about the dependence. He combined the dependent and emptiness together. And if you can see all the achievements that this author, commentator, translator, not me, did, and you will know this is the book that you should get because in the future the reader will also get an achievement. The reader will also get achievement. You see, author, commentator, translator, all got a part on the story experience. And there's a final one, that is me.
I
So
like it.
if you're thinking about it, that is really exciting. Yeah. So I can wait to translate to my own language or maybe your own language, because it's really fascinating. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome, Gibson. Thank you as well. And best wishes with that. And yeah, I'm excited also to check out the book and this upcoming G box. So I guess well, we have class tomorrow. We have translation class tomorrow and more news coming up. Probably tomorrow the QR code is gonna be ready, but I'll share in the chat as well. And yeah, next week we're gonna be going to Diamond Mountain. Hope people can come or watch online at least. And thank you
Yeah.
so much to the translators. I see Vladislava there. Thank you so much for helping us.
Yeah. Thank you, Gamon, Pasiva.
Yes, Anna, thank you so much also for helping us with the materials and everything. I hope you're better, Janet. I hear you were a little sick, but now you look very strong and happy again. Noan, thank you so much for the support as well. And every other person, Lena and Natalia, that were also translating. Thank you so much. All the people recording, Gina doing the posters. So yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. See you. I guess, oh, that's a good question. What's gonna happen? I'll tell you. Probably we're gonna have to pause again. But when there is like big programs like the Five Houses of YSA, I think it's good to pause because pretty much we're all into the big events. And
Yeah.
next Friday, yeah, next Friday we're gonna be already there. So most likely we just pause. But I'll share materials with you on the Telegram and WhatsApp chat groups. Okay. Thank you so much. Best wishes. Great weekend. See you next time. Thank you, Gibson. See
See
you
you one.
probably
Bye,
later.
everyone.
Gibson is visiting Arizona as well. So I see him often
I
now.
wasn't sick, Juan. I just when it's mixed nuts, I hide.
Ah, okay. But the other day when Adam, oh yeah. Yeah, Adam invited you to read, right?
I know, but I hide on mixed nuts. I shouldn't do that, but I do.
Okay. All right. Well, glad to hear and happy to see that you're well, I'll say bright-eyed and bushy tail. All right. See you next time. Thank you so much.